Hi, I'm Jaime at Enlightened, and today I'm going to teach you one simple technique that you can use to help you reduce your stress. Anytime you're feeling anxious, overwhelmed, stressed out, all you need to do is to check in with your breath and engage diaphragmatic breathing. What is diaphragmatic breathing? Basically, your diaphragm is a muscle that sits just underneath your rib cage, and every time you inhale, it contracts and drops down, allowing air to enter the chest cavity. Every time you exhale, it relaxes, pushing the air out. Right? So what this diaphragm actually does is it separates the chest cavity from the abdominal cavity. What tends to happen a lot is people tend to only be stuck in very short, shallow breaths into the chest cavity. What this does is it actually engages the sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight mode, which then becomes this vicious cycle of getting you more stressed out. Because anytime that you breathe really short and shallow, your body just thinks that, oh my God, I have to be running away from this tiger right now, right? So if you start to slow the breath down, so you take deeper breaths and you allow the breath to fall deeper from the chest cavity through into the abdominal cavity, allowing your rib cage to fill up, allowing the breath to drop into the lower belly. What that does is it kickstarts your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest mode, right? So you can actually, it's a life hack. It's a really simple a physiological response that actually happens that you can control. So whether or not you're driving the car or you're in front of your desk, if you check in with yourself throughout the day, you might start to realize, oh my goodness, I'm actually, tensing myself up. I'm actually breathing really short and shallow. Sometimes I found myself realizing that I'm holding my breath, right? And that's just gonna stress you out even more. So a very simple way for you to test how you're breathing right now is if you place your hand on your chest and place the other hand on your belly, kind of between the rib cage and where your belly button is. Sometimes actually maybe on your belly button it could work as well. So if you breathe, as you inhale and as you exhale, start to feel which hand it is on the top or the bottom that's moving along with the breath. It might only be that you're breathing from the chest and only the top is expanding and contracting. Or you might be, what you really want to try to do is keep this hand still and have this hand at the bottom rising and falling with the breath, right? Sometimes if you're not quite used to it yet, you're not quite sure how it's going, an easier way of doing this instead of sitting up is if you lie down on your back. So if I go ahead and lie down now, bending the knees, feet are flat on the floor, same thing. One hand is on my chest, one hand is on my belly. I'm gonna try to inhale and exhale and try to see which hand it is that's rising and falling with the breath. So this is belly breathing, diaphragmatic breathing, where the lower hand should be rising and falling. Right, now if this is also hard for you to try to feel, because initially if you're not used to it, you might not be able to. You want to flip around onto your belly so that your belly's on the floor, and you want to rest the forehead on the floor on your hands, and as you inhale, what you want to do is feel your ribcage expanding and then also feel your belly pushing against the floor. It's much easier to try to figure it out this way, right? So rather than trying to get your chest expanding into the floor, you want to try to get the belly expanding into the floor. So let's flip around onto your belly right now. Forehead is on the floor. So as you inhale, through the nose only, you want to expand the breath through the rib cage and feel that belly rising and falling into the floor at the same time, right? So you want to do this for a few breaths. Try to see and get used to that feeling of what it's like with the belly rising and falling. So once you kind of feel like you get the hang of it, do it sitting up. Try it again sitting up, right? And anytime you're feeling stressed out, if the kids are screaming, if the pot's about to boil over, you're anxious before this big work meeting, stop, chill, take a moment, Put your hand on your breath, on your chest, and one hand on your belly, and start to check in with where your breath is going. Just a couple of minutes, a few times a day is all you need, right? Engage your diaphragmatic breathing. Have fun playing around with it. I hope this tip helps you. And for more tips on stress management, any yoga or meditation, head on over to my blog. Link is on the details below.